Hey guys, I'm Carrie. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to talk about TOEFL Speaking Question 4 today. I will walk you through the requirements, show you how to use templates and take notes. I will also give you a sample response and share my tips and strategies. Before we get started, please subscribe to my channel. Okay, let's get into the video. Speaking Question 4 is an integrated task with only listening. You will listen to an academic lecture for about 80 seconds. Then prepare your response for 20 seconds. Then summarize and say your answers in 60 seconds. Like the other speaking tests, time is so tight. And the hardest part is that this speaking question 4 doesn't have reading. If you miss the information in listening, you will not be able to say it later. Let's see the question requirements first. The questions may be worded differently, but they ask you to do the same thing. Using points and examples from the lecture, explain the professor's concepts. So this requires your listening and speaking skills, plus summarizing abilities. This is why question 4 is the hardest test in speaking. But the questions give you hints sometimes. This listening must be related to the survival strategies of plants. And this is related to the primary and secondary animal acid structure of proteins. You can use the keyword in your answer. You need to prepare a template first since you have only 20 seconds for preparation. This is not enough to organize and summarize an academic topic unless your English skill is really strong. Here's my template. Pay attention to the structure of how to organize your speaking. First, talk about the lecture. What is the lecture about? What is the main concept? It's usually mentioned in the question and at the beginning of the lecture. Then talk about how many examples the speaker gives. Usually 2 examples, but sometimes there's only 1. Then you tell the details by using this structure. Example plus explanation. This is the time that I spend on each part. Plan the time and time yourself while practicing. Now we jump to the hardest part, listening. Like I said before, you are not able to fill in the blanks of the template if you don't understand the listening. The listening in speaking section is a little bit faster than the ones in listening section. I didn't know this before. I practiced on TOEFL Glider and I often got really high score on speaking. But the listening during the exam was so fast, I didn't understand it. So I was not able to tell some of the information. I have kept practicing listening after TOEFL, and I also suggest the students in my classes practice listening every day. You also need to do it before the test. Now we listen to an audio on Test Glider and take notes together. The audio is 1.5 minutes. Get ready with your pen and a piece of paper. Let's get started.
It is an obvious fact that plants cannot move. Then, how do plants protect themselves when they are unable to avoid approaching threats? In fact, they use several defensive mechanisms. So today, we are going to talk about how plants protect themselves. I'm going to cover 2 main methods. Some plants protect themselves by using poison, and others protect themselves by luring insects and eating them. Let's start off with the plants that use poison. Some plants produce a poison that is fatal enough to kill a beast as big as a wild boar. These plants normally have dazzling and striking colors as a warning to animals that approach them. Typical examples of these plants are Ericema erubescens and Ricinus, which both have bright red colors. So, animals know that they are dangerous to eat. As animals avoid eating these plants, they are able to reproduce and maintain their species. On the other hand, some plants protect themselves by eating insects. They are called insectivorous plants, and actually, they don't technically eat insects as other typical animals eat food. First, they kill the insects with their sticky sap. Then, they slowly melt and absorb the nutrients from those insects. The plants, known as insectivorous plants, include Dionea, string spatula, and Nepenthes. With this method, plants are able to protect themselves from harmful insects.
Here are my notes. You may miss some information. I couldn't write down everything either. Don't worry, just try your best to grab the key information and fill in the blanks. Here's my answer. The lecture is about the survival strategies of plants, which is about how plants use protective mechanisms to protect themselves when they cannot move. The speaker shows 2 methods to illustrate this. First, plants use poison to kill enemies. For example, they can produce fatal poison to kill animals. Usually these plants have bright colors to let animals know they are dangerous. Second, plants lure insects and eat them. For instance, they can kill insects first, then melt and absorb nutrition from insects. The structure is exactly the same as the template. Don't change your template too many times. Focus on improving your skills on listening and speaking. It will be difficult to write down the pen names example in the lecture, but if you cover the main idea of the lecture, that will be fine. Remember to record yourself while practicing and listen again to see how you are doing, or send your recordings to your partners or friends and ask them for feedback. Although you may not understand everything from the listening, try your best to write down the pronunciation of some words and say them out. Don't stay silent. You need to say something. And practice more on different materials instead on only one like I did. Question 4 is tough, but don't give up and keep practicing. Hope you like this video. Please share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See ya.